Good morning, I'm Tricia Bear from the Culinary Command Post, and today I'm going to show you how to make Scotcharoos. And Scotcharoos are basically Rice Krispie cereal with, well, you've got 6 cups of Rice Krispie cereal, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of corn syrup, 1 cup of peanut butter, 1.5 cups of butterscotch chips, and then another 1.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. And you don't have to bake it in the oven or not anything like that. You can just set it into the fridge to firm up for about 20 minutes once you mix everything together. And then it actually tastes better chewy and not hard, so you just want to leave it in the fridge for 20 minutes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to spray our pan with this Baker's Joy, and I like this Baker's Joy because it has the flour in it and it releases things easier. So we're just going to lightly spray it, even on the sides, and then we're going to put parchment paper in the pan so we can pull it out, and it's a lot easier to cut that way. So you're going to use a 9 by 13 inch pan. Alright, and then we're going to set 2 pieces of square parchment paper sideways so that we have a way to pull it up when everything's set on the Scotcharoos. If you like going to car shows or like pets, August 30th, Saturday in Henrietta at the Briefcase on Main Street, we're having a car show, a Vets for Pets costume contest, a beard and mustache competition, and a pinup competition. And for the pet costume contest, we're giving away $100 for first place. Second place is $50 and third place is $25. So if you're interested in that, if you bring a pet, if you bring 1 pet or 2 pets, the pets get a raffle ticket, or you get a raffle ticket for your pet, for each pet that you enter in the contest, and you can win a 1-year supply of Bravecto from Crocker Vet out of Morris. And then you can also win a free day spa for one of your pets at the Love Fur Dog Pet Grooming in Henrietta. So the competition's free. It doesn't cost you anything to register, and you do want to register between 11:30 and 12:30 on Saturday, August 30th, right outside the Briefcase. And then the competition is at 12:30. So I look forward to seeing you all and your pets. See what you dress them up as. Okay, so we've got our parchment paper in. It's kind of sliding just a little bit. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to melt your 1 cup of sugar and your corn syrup on the stove in a saucepan. And then you don't want it to boil. So we're going to go over here to the stove. And we're going to add in our 1 cup of sugar in the saucepan. And then we're going to add in 1 cup of corn syrup. And we're going to let it heat up, but we're not going to let it boil. You don't want it to boil. We're going to use this. Alright, and I put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of this bowl so that I can get all of the corn syrup out. It makes it easier to get peanut butter and corn syrup out. Alright, so we're going to heat it up. We're going to heat it on medium, but we do not want it to boil. Okay. Usually at the car show in Henrietta, they have over 75 antique cars. So if you love car shows and antique cars, you need to come to that event August 30th. I believe it starts around 10 o'clock. Alright, so we're going to mix our sugar up, our 1 cup of sugar with our 1 cup of corn syrup. And we're waiting till it gets heated up, but we don't want it to boil. If you let it boil, it's going to be hard when you get done assembling the ingredients. So you want to make sure you don't let it boil. When you first start seeing bubbles, that's when you're going to take it off the heat And then we're going to mix in our peanut butter. And I've got it on medium heat. Alright, so we're just waiting for it to boil. And the Vets for Pets group is sponsored by Love Ford in Henrietta, for Love Fur Dog Pet Grooming in Henrietta, and then also the VFW and VFW Auxiliary Post 539 in Henrietta. So we look forward to you bringing your pets out for the pet costume contest on Saturday, August the 30th at the Briefcase on Main Street. Once your sugar and corn syrup starts to bubble the first time, then you're going to take it off the heat. And these are called Scotcharoos, which is basically Rice Krispies, peanut butter, semi-sweet chocolate chips, and butterscotch mixed together. So real quick, easy dessert to make. Next week, I'll be at the Oklahoma Restaurant Association Culinary Competition in Oklahoma City, and I've been helping run that for about 6 years. And it's where chefs do different heats on their cooking. And then they also have a cocktail showdown, which is a alcohol contest for to see who can, I guess, whoever can make the best drinks. Alright, so we're just waiting for our sugar to just barely start boiling, then we're going to take it off as soon as it does. You don't want it to boil because it's going to make the Scotcharoos really hard, and we're trying to make them the chewy version. You don't have to store them in the fridge after you chill them for 20 minutes. They're better to be left outside of the fridge so they don't get too hard. I'm going to turn it up to medium-high heat. If you're interested in joining the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, one of the criteria is that you have served in a combat zone. So even if you didn't go on a combat patrol or anything, you just have to serve in a war zone like Afghanistan, Iraq, Vietnam, World War II. That's the criteria for joining the VFW. And we meet the first Tuesday every month at 6 o'clock. Okay, so it's just now starting to boil. Alright, so I'm going to remove it from the heat. And now I'm going to put in my peanut butter. And it's just 1 cup of peanut butter. You can use crunchy peanut butter if you like. I think next time I will use crunchy peanut butter, just because I like nuts in my desserts. So we're just going to use the creamy peanut butter this time. Should do it. Alright, we're going to use a whisk and we're going to mix in the peanut butter. Okay, now we're going to go back over to our chef table. Okay, now I'm going to mix in the 6 cups of Rice Krispies cereal. And once you get it all mixed up, you can press it into the bottom of the 9x13 pan. Once you start adding the Rice Krispies, don't use the whisk because it gets stuck there. Just go ahead and use your spatula instead of the whisk. Otherwise, you're going to get them all stuck in the bottom of your whisk. Okay? You want to mix them around. And again, you don't want to boil the mixture on the stove. As soon as you see the bubbles, get it off the stove. Put in your peanut butter. Mix in the Rice Krispies squares. And we're going to let it firm up just for a few minutes. And then we're going to melt our butterscotch and chocolate chips and my sweet chocolate chips in the microwave. Because that's going to be our top layer. But we want it to firm up just a little bit. Mix it up really good. Alright, now we're going to put it in our 9x13 pan with our parchment paper. And I'm going to have a little bit of the parchment paper on the side so I can lift it up when it gets done setting. Alright, that should do that. Now we're going to put it into the bowl. Alright, so now we're going to set it on top of the parchment paper and we're going to press it down with gloves on to kind of get it to firm up quicker. And you do want to use a thick bottom pan so that your corn syrup and your sugar don't cook too fast. Alright, so some of our upcoming shows are going to be chicken cordon bleu, and also we're going to do stuffed chicken crescent rolls. So be sure to subscribe to our channel. Okay, and it's going to harden up quick, so you want to get it pressed into the pan as soon as you can. That's why you do not want to let it boil on the stove because it's going to harden up pretty quick. And we're just going to let it firm up a few minutes once I get it pressed down while we're melting our butterscotch and our chocolate chips. Yeah. I'm just using my hand with gloves on to press it down so it's even. This is a super easy dessert to make. It doesn't take that long. It only has maybe 1, 2, 3, 6 ingredients total. And that's if you want nuts is the sixth ingredient. Alright, I'm just letting it firm up just for a minute while I'm melting the peanut or the butterscotch chips and also the semi-sweet chocolate chips. You can use any chips you want, really. Alright, so that's evened up. See, I still have a little bit of pull right here, so I can pull the parchment paper out and cut it. It just makes it a lot easier to cut it, and they look better that way. Alright, so we have it firming up. And so now we're going to melt the butterscotch and the semi-sweet chocolate chips. in the microwave. And you want to just melt them for about 30 seconds and then stir it, 30-second intervals at a time. Okay. And then once we get the chocolate and the butterscotch chips melted and poured on top, then we're going to put it in the fridge just for 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes to let it set, and then we're going to take it back out of the fridge. So you don't have to keep it in the fridge. You don't want to, because it's going to harden up if you put it in the fridge. So the best way is just let it chill 15 to 20 minutes in there and then take it out and store it at room temperature. So I melted my chocolate chips and my butterscotch in the microwave, and I'm stirring it in 30-second intervals. And the Rice Krispies squares are already getting firm. Once we get the chocolate on, we'll put them in the fridge for 15 to 20 minutes just to set. And then you want to store them at room temperature. Yeah, it's starting to melt now. And you're mixing the chocolate with the butterscotch. You can use peanut butter if you want, or we've already got peanut butter in the Rice Krispies, but these are called Scotcharoos. That's why we're using butterscotch chips. And I might do it one more time for about 15 seconds because I still have a little bit of chunks in there. Be sure to tune in to our Culinary Command Post cooking channel every Sunday. Every Sunday at 2 o'clock. Alright, so now it's melted just enough. Now we can put it onto our Rice Krispie squares. Use that. And you want to spread it on as soon as you get it out of the bowl, because it's going to start getting hard. Or I should say harder to spread if you don't. Right. And I'm using an offset spatula to spread it out, spread it around on the Rice Krispie squares. And then we'll set it in the fridge about 20 minutes to set. And see, that didn't take us that long at all to make these. Super easy dessert. And we're just going to set it in there about 15 minutes in the fridge, and then we're going to store it at room temperature. So that way it's still chewy and not too hard. The offset spatula works better than just the straight spatula, especially when you're trying to spread it out and get it even. Alright, we're going to set it in the fridge for about 15 minutes actually, and then we'll be ready to serve it. That's how it should look once you've got the chocolate and the butterscotch chips spread it on top. Now we're going to set it in the fridge for about 15 minutes. that's how you make Scotcharoos, which are basically butterscotch with peanut butter and Rice Krispies cereal and semi-sweet chocolate. Okay, this is the Scotcharoos.
And we're gonna do a little cut here with it.
Yeah, we're gonna take them off the parchment paper, which I made the parchment paper stick out of the pan a couple inches so that I can take it out of the pan just like that and cut it a lot easier. Yeah, it's off. So this is our Scotcharoos, which is the Rice Krispie squares.
Right.
Yep, it's still soft. That's what you want. You want to store these at room temperature, not in the fridge, because they'll get harder.
All right.
And they'll be harder to eat. There.
Will I be the judge on this one?
Shell's gonna try it. It's the first time we've made this. It's called Scotcharoo. It's made with Rice Krispie squares, or Rice Krispie cereal, sorry. And it's got peanut butter and semi-sweet chocolate and butterscotch chips in it.
I'm really not a fan of peanut butter.
Yeah.
But these have a more like a chocolatey flavor, and you don't feel the peanut butter as much.
Yeah, we melted the chocolate and the peanut butter together. We melted the chocolate and butterscotch chips together, and then we put the peanut butter in.
This is something I like. It's really sweet and delicious.
And it's chewy and not hard.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. It's very good.
All right, that's Scotcharoos.
Scotcharoos. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you every Sunday at 2 p.m.